SHEEEIT Radio.
That was fucking great, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SHEEEIT Radio. So we want to talk about hair metal tonight, talk about some hair metal albums that we like, some songs we really enjoy, and I think it's going to be a good topic. I said, boys, I know nothing about hair metal, but let's do it. So instead of kind of giving a description off the old Wikipedia, we'll kind of just dive in and be more authentic, because we don't want to be one of those shows that just, here's what happened in 1982. We want to be one of those shows that shares experience so you can relate. We're a show for the everyman. If we don't act like the everyman, then we're not giving you authenticity, and that's not what we're going to do. So, Liarz, you like hair metal, yeah?
When I was younger, I definitely did. Definitely did. I still have a bit of nostalgia for heavy metal, for hair metal. As I've mentioned on the show before, I'm an avid LP collector. I have a lot of hair metal on record, and I throw it on every now and then. But, man, when I was younger, that was my jam for sure.
What was your go-to?
I was just going to say, all those bands that I listed, I had at least one of their records. And I think one band that just is the epitome of hair metal, for me at least, and up until today, I always thought they were a Canadian band, so I kind of always loved it a little bit more because they were from Canada. But I find out today that they're not. They're from the United States, it's an American band. So I was like, look at that. And the band I'm talking about is Firehouse. And they had their debut album, the eponymous debut album, Firehouse, has some of the best glam metal anthems that you can think of. So their first album, Firehouse, they had 4 singles: Shake and Tumble, Don't Treat Me Bad, All That She Wrote, or All She Wrote, and then the power ballad Love of a Lifetime. Those songs, especially Love of a Lifetime and Don't Treat Me Bad, were on heavy rotation. I played them, I blasted them in my room, I dressed up like them, I put my hair up like them, I lip synced to them, I rocked out to them. It was, let's see, when was this album released? It was released in 1990, so I was still a young teenager then. I'm still in my 40s, by the way. Just wanted to mention that. So the singles from this band, Love of a Lifetime. Remember, everybody knows this song. It's I finally found the love of a lifetime. It's just so good. So I'm starting it off with Firehouse, eponymous debut album, the epitome of glam metal to me. Wasted?
Yeah, I really started listening to hair metal more after Appetite for Destruction came out, Guns N' Roses, and Use Your Illusion. There was this lull, and you were kind of looking for the next Guns N' Roses album, but all I was finding is more like hair metal. That was closer to what I was looking for. I remember reading a review about Tin Machine, David Bowie, and they said it's a good hard rock record. Yeah, David Bowie. And I went down to Bowie. I went to the shop and I bought it, Tin Machine. They said it's a good hard rock, he's returned to hard rock roots or something like that. I took it home, listened to it, and I was like, I don't like this. So I took the tape back with the receipt and exchanged it for Girls, Girls, Girls by Motley Crue. And that was the one. That's what I was looking for. I think Wild Side is probably my favorite hair metal song. Just the lyrics of the first lyric, verse 1, kneel down ye sinners. to Street Riders' religion. Green's been crowned the new king. Hollywood dream teens, yesterday's trash queens, save the blessings for the final ring. Amen. Yeah, I think, and totally like much closer to like the attitude of Guns N' Roses than I thought. Yeah.
So I need to interrupt you for a second, Wasted, because it's the $1 million question, and it gets asked in glam metal circles all the time. Is Guns N' Roses considered glam metal to you?
No, it just has elements of glam.
Right. Okay.
In my opinion.
Me too.
I mean,
well, I'm going to answer this too,
Skid Row's debut, you know.
Well, Wasted's got headphones now, and he's got his noise-canceling one, so folks, there should be a vast improvement on Wasted's audio quality tonight. You asked Wasted if you consider Guns N' Roses glam metal. Well, you're going to ask Mr. Brasky, and I'm going to tell you right now. There's no way, except the fact, Axl likes to dress up like a girl, and they all did back then. But, I mean, I think they were just trying to fit into the music scene and sell tickets, because you listen to Appetite for Destruction, there's not one thing that sounds hair metal on there. I mean, you go, oh, Sweet Child of Mine. No, not with that guitar riff. It's too much attitude. So, like, even Motley Crue, they had the look of hair metal, but I wouldn't consider them hair metal. They just dressed up like a bunch of, something we can't say in today's polite society, but they were dressing up like ladies. They're not. I wouldn't consider Motley Crue to be hair metal. So definitely not Guns N' Roses.
Well, there's a sort of negative connotation to hair metal, and a lot of the bands don't want to be called hair metal. So, it's a weird thing. Like Whitesnake consider themselves to be like a hard rock band. But
they're very glammy.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's hair metal.
It starts to get to the point where the only hair metal band is what? Poison. To me, like Poison are the Sex Pistols of hair metal. They're the ones.
What about Cinderella?
Cinderella, yeah. I mean, that's one of my favorites. Long Cold Winter, 1988. Gypsy Road. Don't know what you got till it's gone. So, I mean, the thing with them is that at the time that I was listening to them in 1990, after the release of Appetite for Destruction, Heartbreak Station came out, and they kind of changed from being more like glam hair metal band into being more like hard rock, bluesy. So, for that Heartbreak Station album, it's more like Rolling Stones, like Shelter Me is like a remake of Gimme Shelter. I mean, it almost predicted what Axl was going to do on Use Your Illusion. Like, they brought in pianos and stuff.
Let's get away from GNR and Axl, and let's stick to hair metal, because we know that's just two different animals at once. One thing about hair metal that I don't know a lot about it, but I can say this. Hair metal also had females that were considered hair metal. Would you consider Lita Ford hair metal?
Yeah.
No, I would not, because she was she part of the Runaways?
She was indeed.
Yeah.
So the Runaways are, what's her name? I can't even remember her name right now. Joan Jett, right? So Joan Jett was part of the Runaways. So Lita Ford was part of the Runaways. I would put Lita Ford in more of a heavy metal than glam rock. She's more of a heavy metal. Yeah, go on.
Don't worry, Liarz. I did my homework on this one, so we'll eliminate Lita Ford. But check this out. What about Vixen?
Yeah, Vixen 100% is hair metal. 100%.
Okay. So you got Vixens, so there's some ladies, and then you guys are talking more hair metal. You got bands like Rat, which, I don't care what anyone says, that's hair metal.
Well, I'm glad you bring up Rat, because I wanted to transition, and I know you said enough with the talk of the GNR, but there's a direct correlation between Rat's debut album, Out of the Cellar, and Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Both are almost concept albums about drugs and living on the streets of LA. And I know Wasted has gone into detail about this album before, so I'd love to hear what Wasted has to say on this album, because to me, it's also, I am 100% with you, Brasky. They're 100% glam metal, hair metal, and especially this album is a very hair. I was just listening to this album a little while ago, and I think it's a great album. I think it's sleazy. I think it's bluesy. I think it's glammy, right? So, I think it's glammy. So I really want to hear what Wasted has to say about this Rad album.
Is Round and Round on that, or was that on a different album? Yeah, I mean that's a classic hair metal song, which is going to be on a hair metal compilation, isn't it? I mean, definitely is. The parallel, or the thing with the Guns N' Roses or whatever, is that Rat were kind of like towards the end of like hair metal, so they were getting dirtier, and the sound was getting heavier, and that seemed to be like a bridge. Like in Rat and Roll, Stephen Percy's book, he's hanging around in the same like places as in the Cat House at the same time as Guns N' Roses. But so Out of the Cellar is kind of like a bridge to Appetite in a weird way. If you're like following music, like everything was getting heavier, even in the hair metal scene, to the point where Guns N' Roses Appetite could come out. But I think like in that book, Stephen Percy's in the Cat House and he gets in a fight with Erwin Everly and Axl.
Oh, does he?
So they were in the same sort of circles at the Cat House with Ricky Rackman or whatever he's called. Was it Ricky Rackman? Yeah, the Cat House. Yeah. So a lot of it, and it had the same kind of. They have the same kind of origin story of sort of on the streets, living in a shithole apartment. When you read the two books, the Guns had the Hell House, and Rat were also living in had a name for their like one bedroom apartment that they all lived in. A bit like Motley Crue. Remember, Motley Crue also had this sort of communal living situation set up. So that's what the thing with
No, I was just going to say, I just like the fact that we just all agreed, and everybody seems to agree, that one album is definitely not glam, but an album that's very close to it is considered glam. And the structure and almost the sound and the concept of those two albums are very similar. So I like that. I like that how one is one and one is the and polar end of the spectrum on it, because two albums that can be so close together are just so far apart on the scale of rock and roll.
You mean with Out of the Cellar and Appetite? Yeah.
Yes.
The thing with Out of the Cellar is the influences are more from like heavy metal and glam rock, like T-Rex or British heavy metal. Whereas I think with Guns N' Roses, the thing that set them apart was that they were more like 70s rock, like more like Zeppelin or more like AC/DC.
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith. Yeah. I think that's the difference. Is it
cool.
if you could say they kind of distanced themselves away from the Sunset Strip scene, didn't they? They would always say we're not a hair band, like we hate Poison, we like punk. They like punk more. There's more punk in Guns N' Roses. There's more 70s hard rock. So it's like LA Guns. Are they hair metal?
LA Guns was also on my list for being one of the quintessential hair metal bands of the Sunset Strip. Their second album, Cocked and Loaded.
Yeah, that's what I've got on my list, yeah.
Yeah, LA Guns continually, there was a brief period in the mid 90s where they were kind of after Hollywood Vampires, where they kind of went a little almost like they kind of wanted to keep up with the Joneses, and went kind of I don't want to say they went grunge, because they didn't, but their sound definitely changed. But then they kind of reformed, and they've consistently put out some really good albums throughout the years. And they had their debut album, and then they had Cocked and Loaded, which was second, and that probably has their biggest hit. Surprise, surprise. It's a power ballad. It's called The Ballad of Jane. It also has the song Malaria, which I remember watching the video on high rotation on MTV when I was young. They had a song called Rip and Tear. I Want to Be Your Man was a single as well. All those songs, if you know LA Guns, those are songs that are synonymous with the band. Brasky, did you have any more women?
Well, I mean, these guys dress up like women, but I mean, what about the choir boys? You know, they have I Don't Love You Anymore as one of their main songs. I know that from the Peacemaker soundtrack, which if you want to listen to hair metal, I really suggest go listen to the Peacemaker soundtrack or playlist. That was the HBO show with John Cena. But on there, they got, you know, what the...
Is that 7 o'clock? The choir boys, where they're
yep.
kind of like Rod Stewart, kind of. They're a little bit more like the Faces or something.
Is it the same as the London Choir Boys, or is that a different band?
Yeah. They had to change their name in the U.S.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it's the same band. They had 7 o'clock, didn't they? A song called 7 o'clock.
They did. They had 7 a.m. And then, you know, the I Don't Love You Anymore. I mean, that's a jam, you know.
Is it a power ballad?
Oh, fuck, is it a power ballad? I mean, listen, you're listening to that, you're getting emotional. You know, that's your you know, your high school girlfriend just broke up on, you know, with you.
Oh, man.
You're crying in a fucking Datsun somewhere.
Yes. And you know what? I did. And I don't know if it was a Datsun. It might have been a Ford, maybe a Ford Tempo. But there was some crying over some girls to some power ballads back when I was a budding man.
Now, you guys, when we did this topic, I really don't know much of hair metal. So I asked you guys questions. I'm like, is Judas Priest hair metal? Like, no, Brasky, it's not. I'm like, is Iron Maiden? You're like, no, you're an idiot. I said, okay. So I kind of had to look through some stuff. And, you know, they say Hanoi Rocks is definitely like the godfathers of hair metal. And I like Hanoi Rocks. Like, their album Bangkok Shocks, Saigon Shakes, and Hanoi Rocks is a hell of an album. And their main song that I like on there is the 11th Street Kids. I think that's a great tune.
Yeah. I forgot what their live album was called. All Those Wasted Years. They had a classic live album with all the hits on one album.
Was it dedicated to you?
I just like albums named after me, yeah. No, it was just cheap, you know. It was just cheap because it's a live album, so you get three for one type of thing. So you get the live album. But I think the live album is actually better because some of the studio albums for Hanoi Rocks, the production's a little bit like not as juicy as they probably are live or anything like that.
The production is very punk rock. It's very
kind
of low and yeah. I mean,
not a sleep.
I was never a big fan of Hanoi Rocks. I never really got it. I know we keep circling back, and one day we'll just acknowledge the fact that we all love Guns N' Roses, and we always talk about them. But that's who introduced me to Hanoi Rocks because of Use Your Illusion. Michael Monroe was on it. I didn't know who Hanoi Rocks was before Use Your Illusion came out.
I think he's on Spaghetti Incident too, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think playing the harmonica maybe. But I mean, Axl bases is kind of like influenced by Michael Monroe. I mean, Izzy Stradlin thought of Guns N' Roses as being like Hanoi Rocks. I mean, he dresses like the rhythm guitar player Mike McCoy. Mike McCoy wears the white shirt with the black waistcoat. So Izzy's look is based on Mike McCoy. And in fact, I think they switched wives as well or something. I can't remember.
I think they did.
That's a common
thing. They became friends. There was something going on there, but yeah. So yeah, I think Hanoi Rocks definitely an influence. There's a lot of those bands like Alice Cooper, Judas Priest, Hanoi Rocks. They influenced the actual the hair bands that were more in the mid '80s, and then they came out what's he called? Alice Cooper. He kind of influenced them, created the scene, and then brought out his own version of hair metal with Trash. You know, the Trash album with Poison on it. So that's sort of considered a kind of hair metal classic, isn't it? But he's not really. Alice Cooper's not really seen. He's more of a shock shock rock, isn't it? From the 70s. He's not really hair metal.
Yeah, I don't know if Feed My Frankenstein and School's Out, Forever is what you considered hair metal.
No, but Poison was. That was a big hit. Same with Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne in the 80s solo. People think of that as being hair metal because he had his hair all teased out.
Oh, yeah, but I don't care. That's retarded. Bark at the Moon? No.
No, but you're thinking of hair metal as a kind of a negative thing. It's just a sort of almost. I think of it more of an era of time or something. Not really. It's a genre, obviously. Where do you think that? Why is Hairspray so important? Was it because of Dallas? Where did they just suddenly all got this ability? Why did they all start wanting to use Hairspray?
So Nikki Sixx talks about why they dressed up as girls. What did he say? I remember in an interview with him, he was talking about it was a way of, it's teenage angst and a way of rebelling against the system that the guys were going to dress up as girls, but don't mess with them because they'll still kick your ass. So, like something to that effect. Some very bro cock rocky fucking bullshit that Nikki Sixx probably said. He did say it. I remember him saying it. So that's why.
I will say this though, Liarz. I will say this. Mick Mars generally does look like most old grandmas. So I can't disagree. I mean, he's still rocking it out. He's still living the dream.
He just released a new album too, and I listened to a couple of songs on Spotify. Check it out. It's better than Motley Crue's new shit.
But, when I was thinking about hair metal and you guys are like, hey, so we want to do this topic, I'm like, only thing I know is, like I was saying to begin the show, like, I just know, like, the compilations, like, I know Dawkins, Breaking the Chain. I'm like, yeah. Stone Cold by Rainbow, I believe. Those are the songs that I know. Then I try to like, okay, well, let me look into hair metal, what it is. And it's like Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. I'm like, oh yeah, that definitely seems, 40 enough to be hair metal. And then it's like, I saw Quiet Riot. I'm like, oh, I like Quiet Riot. And they're like, oh, Metal Health is hair metal. I'm like, what? So they consider Metal Health to be hair metal. I don't know how that could be, that album to be a hair metal album, but is that right? Is that wrong? What is it?
I think you're just thinking of hair metal as being like the really sort of lightweight, sort of soft rock, when it wasn't really all like that, It was just a particular time where it was like a mixture of glam rock and heavy metal. And a lot of bands, there's lots of different variations of it. But yeah, most people don't want to be called hair metal because they don't want to think that they're like Poison or whatever. But Poison's album is actually it's quite fun to listen to.
Some of them, yeah. Look what the Cat Dragged In.
Some of the songs.
It's a staple. I mean, in the hair metal world, like it's great.
Oh, is it? Every rose has its thorn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a classic, even though it's sort of like Warren's Cherry Pie. It's not exactly
it's a great sing-along song.
Yeah, but they're fun songs. Some people miss that fun element. And then I think what was funny is that Nickelback at some point were pretending to be like the new hair metal, like the new Def Leppard.
That's a hell of an analogy.
Yeah, but
Def Leppard, you got to imagine, is the biggest hair metal band of all time off Hysteria.
Yeah. Well, the biggest record, yeah. It's sort of like the Chinese democracy of hair metal.
It's so successful.
Yeah. Would you consider Def Leppard to be the most successful hair metal band, or Bon Jovi? I would say Bon Jovi.
Yeah, Bon Jovi's bigger.
I mean,
probably bigger.
Bon Jovi had it all. He had the big hair. He had the blazing guitar solos by Richie Sambora. They wore spandex. They had like boas that they were wearing and ribbons that they had on. So to me, I mean, I just described both bands to a T, but to me, I would say Bad Medicine and Slippery When Wet and Bon Jovi are hair metal more. What's up?
I want to ask you a question, because once I said, this isn't my generation. It's not a time that I was, actively around in the world, and if I was a very little child. I was a little kid. Am I right to use this analogy? Bon Jovi was hair metal for the girlfriend, like the girls. Def Leppard was hair metal for the boys, for the guys.
Well, I definitely agree. Go on, Wasted, yeah.
Well, no, Def Leppard, the thing is, Def Leppard were just like, didn't they were more like they came out a little bit earlier. Slippery When Wet, Bon Jovi came right out in the middle or towards the end of the 80s, right? Like, High and Dry, is it? The Def Leppard album, it's more like a 70s rock album. So they're not completely an 80s hair metal band, Def Leppard. They had albums before that you would put in a more like hard rock genre. So then,
Def Leppard was formed in 1976. They're hard rock, heavy metal. They're glam metal for sure.
But Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet is just like almost like a flagship album for that genre.
But does my analogy apply, Wasted? That Bon Jovi was for the ladies, Def Leppard was for the dudes? Not
necessarily, because Def Leppard were always saying on the 80s, in the 90s, for the Hysteria album tour, it was their whole audience were women. Def Leppard Hysteria album was all women in the audience, and bands. I remember the singer Joe Elliott was saying how he's talking to Lemmy, and Lemmy was complaining that he wished he had an audience all females like Def Leppard's. So, but maybe nerds, rock nerds who like Def Leppard. I mean, they're not as cool as they're not. It's more of a band for nerds, really, isn't it? Def Leppard. They're not really.
You gotta love Lemmy. Lemmy just speaking the truth. I mean, he's looking over at Def Leppard and Bon Jovi groupies, and he's like, man, I wish I had those, because the Motorhead groupies, man, they're fucking scary. Those are some scary chicks. Those chicks will stab you, steal your car. Fucking Lemmy.
Sort of 300 pounds with a mohawk and a gun, and maybe a knife in a boot.
Yeah, they fucking came to the show in a Harley. But, yeah, I mean, Hysteria is obviously the biggest and probably the most successful, even though Liarz is going to say Slippery When Wet. But guess what? I'll defer to him, because I don't know shit about this topic. My first introduction truly to hair metal, where I was like, understood it and I kind of liked it, you guys are going to laugh, and Wasted, you'll understand this, was actually from GTA Vice City, was Love Fist. You remember the band Love Fist? So Love Fist was a fictional hair metal band that was in the video game GTA Vice City, and they have a bunch of songs. They actually released an EP from Rockstar Games, and they have songs such as Dangerous Bastard, Fist Fury, Down, Down, Fist Till Morning. It's a hilarious parody of a hair metal band, and you get to do missions where you rescue them from a stalker, and the music is playing on the radio. It's awesome. I actually posted one of them up in our chat earlier, a video of one of their music videos that was on YouTube. But that's how I kind of like listen to hair metal. And they're, it's parody songs. They're all mocking hair metal. But that's my first introduction really to like hair metal. Going, oh, it's kind of cool. I liked it. But overall, it's hard with hair metal to kind of like dig in and go, oh, if you weren't from that generation, you weren't, a kid of the 80s, a child of the 80s, you're not going to really know hair metal. It's not something that's really transferred over. I mean, you still get the songs playing on like the big ones on your classic rock stations, but majority of the stuff's kind of fallen away. And then you'll have like the tour where they're playing the local fairgrounds, or there'll be like 8 hair metal bands, performing at a festival.
Yeah. There's a few bands that have been influenced. They brought it back a little bit. But they normally have a novelty element to them, like what's that band called? Steel Panther.
Oh, Steel Panther rules.
I was going to mention
Darkness
Steel Panther
a little bit.
The Darkness were a direct throwback to Darkness came out a little bit longer, and they were a direct throwback, and they're to glam metal. I mean, that's what they were, and that's what they made no no mistake about it, that's what they were. They were all glam metal, and that's what they wanted to be. And they did it well. I think that album, that Darkness, I mean, I don't know how many albums they put out, but I know that one album with that big hit song that they had, it was a good album, and I listened to it. And Steel Panther, like, they're kind of looked at as like a novelty act and a parody. At a time, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's what they are, and they portray that on stage, and that's what they want to be. And if you want to, like, they're still living that 1980s Sunset Strip sleaze factory music. And, you know, if you want some good hair metal, go see Steel Panther, because that's what they are, and they continue to be that way even today. You know, there was there's so many bands that you can think of when you think of hair metal. Like, you can think of Slaughter with his what was Wasted? What was Slaughter's big song?
Up All Night.
You gotta remember.
Up All Night. Up All Night. Sleep
Up All Night. Yes. Up All Night. That's their big song. There's a station here in Canada called Much Music. It's basically MTV. They show music videos, and it's still on. For some reason, I still get it on my TV. I don't know why. And every Friday night, they have like 3 hours of hair metal. And I turn it on a lot of times because, you know, and there's so many bands that I don't even know of. Like Night Ranger with Sister Christian, or, you know, some people even said AC/DC was hair metal. I firmly disagree, but AC/DC was not hair metal. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm such a film buff, and I know Wasted is, but every time I hear Sister Christian, I just go straight to Boogie Nights.
Yep.
Wasted, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I know the name of but I probably know the song if it was played to me.
The Sister Christian, You're the Only One. Come on.
Christian, you're the only one.
Oh yeah, in the Boogie Nights.
And I know that you're the only one to say.
When's it played?
Okay.
We're motoring. What's your price for fine? Yeah, man.
But what about Loverboy? Are they hair metal?
Yeah, but hold on. We'll get to Loverboy, but Wasted, that scene in Boogie Nights where the guy's just doing coke. And he's just sitting there, and he's got the stereo cranked up. He's got his gun in his hand.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Can you describe it a little bit?
No, I think you're talking about the scene where he's in his dressing gown, and he's shooting a gun in the air, and he's doing coke. And is that the song that's playing? And they go round to do a deal or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah, and you just
he's got that on. He's got that on the repeat.
If Loverboy's hair metal, that's my favorite hair metal band. I love Loverboy. I don't care. You can make fun of me all you fucking want. I love Loverboy.
Everybody's working for the weekend.
Oh, my way. Turn me loose.
Another question I have with hair metal, I don't really know, is would you say Van Halen is hair metal?
100%. 100%.
So they're the best hair metal.
But I'm gonna add an asterisk to that. The David Lee Roth era of Van Halen, like 1984, is hair metal, 100%.
Oh, what about
because Dave? Go on.
Just like Living in Paradise, when David Lee Roth went solo with Steve Vai, he had Skyscraper, and he had
Yankee Rose,
Yankee Rose, and just like Living in Paradise, when he's dancing around in leotards, climbing mountains,
just a gigolo,
hanging off cliffs, just a gigolo, yeah. So that's
if you guys consider Van Halen, hold on, Wasted. If you guys considered Van Halen hair metal, I mean, the conversation's over. I mean, Van Halen's one of the greatest bands ever. So if they're considered hair metal, they're the greatest hair metal band ever. Just not even close. But I don't know if they... Because is it only the front man? Because I don't remember anyone else. Like, I look at the rest of the band, they don't look hair metal. It was just David Lee Roth.
They don't look, but Eddie Van Halen's solos are definitely hair metal. lots of tapping and shredding. And I'm not saying this in a negative way. Like, Eddie Van Halen's solos are fucking amazing. Eddie Van Halen is amazing. But his solos, to me, is a hair metal solo, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
But would you consider him more like a guitar virtuoso, like a Hendrix? That's how I consider Eddie Van Halen. I don't consider he's his own animal. Like, he's, you know, we all love Slash, and we think he's great. But Eddie Van Halen's Eddie fucking Van Halen.
Absolutely.
I mean, the things he did with a guitar, like, look at Eruption that, you know, kicks in there, You Really Got Me Going. I mean, if you could, I just can't consider them hair metal, because they were just, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let you guys do it. I'm not going to let you guys sully the good name of Van Halen. I just can't do it. I mean, maybe Dave Lee Roth solo, I can give that to you. What is that album? Dave Lee Roth solo album that has Yankee Rose on it. Come on, guys, this is your era. But I can't let you sully the good name of Van Halen.
Yeah, the first one was Skyscraper, and then and the second one was I don't think it's not a derogatory term, hair metal. I mean, I just when you actually listen to, like, say, Cinderella, especially after 1990, I mean, it's pretty close to sounding like Guns N' Roses.
No.
Yeah, on Heartbreak, you listen to Heartbreak Station, the album, with the Stonesy elements to it. It sounds like some of, and some of the blues solos. It's not all
Guns N' Roses
fluff.
No, dude. Guns N' Roses literally was the band that killed hair metal. And now you're saying that Van Halen, one of the greatest hard rock bands of all time. And I get that you could look at David Lee Roth, but I mean, the man was a pussy hound. I mean, he wasn't dressing up as a chick. And if the only reason he was dressing up as a chick is because, you know, he was just naked and backstage banging her and he didn't have anything to wear, so he put on her panties. I mean, no, I'm not going to let you do it, dude.
That was the lifestyle,
audience, hold on, audience. In our comment section below, because you guys have been so great correcting us. I know a few episodes back, and we pre-record, so we just got to see the comments now. I said House of Pain was from Boston. I was wrong. They're from LA. I want to say thank you to the commenter that pointed that out. Audience, tell us if we're wrong. Tell us if we're right. We love comments. We love to know what you guys are thinking. I'm saying that Van Halen is not a fucking hair metal band. Please let us know, audience, you know, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and also keep us accurate. You know, make sure that we're, you know, we're towing the line, that we're not, you know, just a lump of coal here.
Yeah, it was Easterman's Smile that had Yankee Rose on, I think.
Yeah, and wasn't that his first? That was his first album. Van Halen.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of the Just Like Living in Paradise. That's the most, like, hair metal one that I can remember. But the album I bought was Little Ain't Enough, where he'd actually gone more hard rock. You can't really.
I had A Little Ain't Enough as well. That's the David Lee Roth album I bought, and the only song I liked off it was Hammerhead Shark. I thought the album was fucking shit, to be honest with you.
Speaking of shit in Van Halen, what about Extreme? Are they hair metal?
I've seen their song on hair metal compilations, but I don't know. They're funk metal.
They're More Than Words. They sing that correct? More Than Words is definitely a hair metal song. It's a power ballad. But Nuno Betancourt's the same. Like, Nuno Betancourt is a fucking outstanding guitarist. He's so good. I rank him up there with Eddie Van Halen. He's I don't know if he's a virtuoso like EVH was, but Nuno Betancourt is right up there for me as for lead guitarist. The guy's amazing, and all you have to do is just check out some of his, you know, work that he did with Extreme. Now, I don't know much Extreme. I think I'm with Wasted. They're kind of a little more funky than glam metal, but More Than Words, man, that's a staple in any glam metal compilation because it's got all the elements of it.
You know, we were talking Whitesnake earlier, and, you know, Whitesnake is the still of the night. Here I go again on my own. I mean, I gotta say it's hair metal. And I like Whitesnake, don't get me wrong. But it's definitely hair metal, because doesn't Dee Snider of Twisted Sister, doesn't he host that, like, in the United States we have a syndicated radio program that I think it's called, like, Hair Nation or something like that, or that might be the Sirius XM channel for hair metal, but there's, like, hair metal that Dee Snider hosts, and, like, they always have Whitesnake on.
Oh, yeah. What is that Whitesnake song? It's off that Whitesnake album. Oh, it's gonna come to me. As soon as it comes to me, I'll blurt it out.
Love, is it Love? He had one song that called something to do with love.
Give me all your love.
Some of their songs, Is This
Love, Still the Night, Here I Go Again, are the big three ones they got.
Is This Love?
Still the Night.
The hair metal. Yeah. That's the hard rock. That's almost like hard rock. Like Zeppelin.
It is hard rock, but David Coverdale's so bland.
You guys call Motley Crue hair metal.
Yeah. Well, we're not saying that the Whitesnake are definitely considered hair metal, and so are Motley Crue. But they have songs like Fool for Your Loving. Is that a cover? I mean, there's hard rock elements of it. A lot of these hair metal bands, they're not as, like I was saying, they're not all Poison. They all have can have elements of hard rock, which is what Liarz was sort of alluding to with Appetite. Like, Appetite has songs like Anything Goes, which you could say is a hair metal song.
Sir, I just want to... I'm just interrupting you real quick, so we can be accurate. It's called The House of Hair that Dee Snider hosts. That's a nationally syndicated radio program that, I hear all these songs on.
Yeah.
What station is it on? Is it on K-Rock?
It's on a variety of stations. I can only speak to what stations it'd be on in Boston. But it's on a wide variety of stations. You'll catch it everywhere. When I lived down in North Carolina, it'd be on there. It'd be on the rock station. It usually appears like around Saturday night, around like 10 o'clock at night.
And Dee Snider does it.
Yeah.
Cool. To me, I like Dee Snider. I think he's kind of a badass. But I know a lot of people think he's a little shticky and don't really like him all that much. But I got time for Dee Snider. I think I might check out his show.
Yeah.
As for David Coverdale, I mean, did you know he sang for... So, I always hated David Coverdale because way back in the day, I was a huge Zeppelin fan. And I remember when David Coverdale teamed up with Jimmy Page and they released that album. I believe it was called Fire and Sky. And it had that Coverdale Page. What was the name of that song? For Christ's sakes, why can it slip of the tongue? Coverdale Page. Pride and Joy was the name of the song. Great song. And anyway, during the promotion of that album, they were doing interviews, and David Coverdale said that if him and Robert Plant had like a stage off kind of whatever, he would blow Robert Plant off the stage. And I was like, whoa. Like, know your role here, David Coverdale. Stay in your lane. Yeah, you got some chops on you. You can sing. Even some of your songs are catchy. And you're teaming up with Jimmy Page right now. They did put out a good album, but hey, man, you're not Robert Plant. You never will be. I mean, I get it. Robert Plant's the king. You want to be the king. You got to beat the king, right? So that's what he's trying to do. But it's a fail on his part. So ever since then, I really didn't like David Coverdale. But I like some Whitesnake songs. Even some of the Deep Purple songs he did, I kind of like too. So just David Coverdale kind of rubs me the wrong way, and so I'm going to put him in glam metal, because even though I'm not using glam metal in a negative way, I'm going to use it that way for David Coverdale, because nobody talks like that about Robert Plant and gets away with it, man.
It's a David cover version. That's what Robert Plant called him, I think. He said that he was basically just... Yeah, I think so, yeah, because there was an interview when Plant was saying that, you know, he might have an okay voice, but his lyrics are terrible, and he just covers Led Zeppelin songs.
Beautiful.
So he called him David Coverdale. David Cover Version.
David Cover Version. So that Coverdale Page album, I would not consider it glam rock. It's more bluesy rock, hard rock. It was okay though. Like I said, that one song, Pride and Joy, got heavy radio play back in the day. I would suggest check it out. If you've never heard it, check it out because, hey man, if you can, check it out because, hey man, it's David Coverdale and it's Jimmy Page, man. Anything that Jimmy Page, I'll listen to. What do you think? I was just about to say, what do you think, Liarz? I'm Liarz. What do you think, Wasted?
Yeah, I think Whitesnake, they have songs which are almost like hard rock as well. So, but when you listen to the albums, it's a bit schizophrenic. They have songs like Slide It In, which is a total like cock rock hair metal song, and then you're also going to get other songs which are just like more like low slung, like Fool for Your Loving. That's a cover. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. It's pretty, it's more in the hard rock thing. Hello?
That's a cover song?
It says here it is, yeah. Fool for Your Loving. Because Slash covered one of these songs on his recent album, didn't he?
Slash covered a Whitesnake song?
No, he covered this Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, didn't he? Which Whitesnake covered. I don't think Whitesnake wrote Ain't No Love, and it's a blues cover. So Whitesnake do a lot of blues stuff because it's David Cover Version trying to be Led Zeppelin. but it's often not as bad as you expect it to be, even though they're like seen as this sort of. It's because of his hair.
He's that kind of like permed hair, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes them look like a hair metal band, but they're not really.
Absolutely.
They're not very glammy. They lean more into hard rock.
He wears the spandex. I mean, yeah, that's essential for hair metal too. Is the spandex, and David Coverdale, he definitely wears the spandex and has the teased hair. It's like
Def Leppard from Sheffield, and David Coverdale's British, so it's almost like they're trying to look more hair metal than anybody else because they're probably getting made up by a bunch of people are dressing them up to fit in with the image of MTV hair metal. Whereas maybe Rat or somebody is just more. Rat and Motley Crue they do their own hairspray, didn't they?
Yeah. What about Winger? Hip Winger. You must know him.
Isn't he a virtuoso guitarist as well?
Yes.
So yeah,
he is.
Winger. Beavis and Butthead would always hate Winger.
They're a New York band though, so I don't really.
I've never listened to them, no. But
yeah, they were big in the early '90s. They were big in the early '90s.
Stryper's another band that maybe not as bad as you think they are.
They're a Christian rock band now.
Yeah, Christian hair metal. They always were. Although I remember on MTV though, they were saying he's a Christian rock band, and in this interview, he sort of jumps into a Corvette and does the sign of the devil sign and burns down the road. The lead singer from Stryper. I was like, these are strange Christians.
They had that one song, Stryper. It was the devil was in the. Anyway, I can't think of it off the top of my head. It seems to be a reoccurring theme tonight, but they had that song. There's something like "The Devil's in the Details" or something, or "Don't Let the Devil Get to You" or something. I don't know, but You know, that's how I was. To hell with the devil. That's what it's called. To hell with the devil. And that's how I found out they were Christian rock. So I'm like, what the hell are they singing about the devil like this for? You know, usually when you hear rock and roll bands singing about the devil, it's how they love him. And then this guy's saying, to hell with the devil. To hell with the devil! And
Motley Crue was shouting at him. I don't know if they were doing that in a nice way or not.
Well, I mean, to hell with the devil, right?
Yeah. What about the weirdest thing is, I remember them from the nightclub fire tragedy we had here back like 25 years ago here in the New England area. The Great
Were they
White
part of that?
What?
Was Striper part of that?
Great White.
Yeah, Great White was, yeah.
I was asking, what about Great White? That's what my question was.
Is Great White, were they the band that were also managed by Niven, Alan Niven?
I believe
Great
so.
White. Is it Great White? Yeah, because didn't they have a singer who was very much like an Axl Rose? Shark Island or something? And then they turned into Great White?
Yeah. You know who would probably make a great podcast for talking about hair metal? I think he has a podcast too, and you know, I don't know if it's any good because he's not really a voice guy, but he definitely has the knowledge and experience. But Tom Zutaut, our old pal Zooty, hey man, I got a podcast talking about hair metal. Come listen to it, man. I think he'd be an interesting one. I think he's got a podcast now, doesn't he, Liarz?
Zutaut?
Oh yeah, good old Tommy Z.
Zutaut.
Tommy Z. What are you up to these days, Tommy Z? Besides trying to sell back catalogs. Anyway, that's something for another day, I guess.
He was in the hair metal scene. I mean, he found Motley Crue. You know, later found Guns N' Roses. But a lot of these bands were all like, you know, from the same area. You guys were mentioning earlier the Sunset Strip and that certain, what was that? The Motel Hell or some shit.
The Hell House.
The Hell House. So, I mean, are we missing anyone? We brought up Winger. We brought up Great White. We brought up Firehouse. We brought up the Choir Boys. Hanoi Rocks.
Slaughter.
Van Halen.
Poison.
DJ Asper was in Bullet Boys before he was in Guns N' Roses.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's never letting hair metal die, that DJ Ashba.
I can't believe he was in the Bullet Boys. Smooth Up In You. With their subtle song. Well,
are we forgetting anybody? Because this would be your guys' stuff. We brought up Night Ranger. We brought up Talkin. Who are we forgetting here? I mean, Damn Yankees. Come on, guys. Damn Yankees. And Ted Nugent as a hair metal guy?
I don't know. I've recently just got into Ted Nugent, some of his 70s stuff. I was working with a guy recently, and we started talking music, and he introduced me to stoner rock. He's like, do you know what stoner rock is? I was like, I've never heard of it. And he named off a bunch of bands. We put a bunch of bands on in the truck, and I was like, hey man, this stoner rock is right up my alley, right? And that might be a topic for another show, actually, is stoner rock bands, because it's a genre that I didn't even know existed. And
people just like, listen. They're like, listen, dude, I got some Foghat, I got some Molly Hatch, and I got some Ted Nugent, man. Come on, pass the doobie, brother.
Man, Ted Nugent? Oh, some of his stuff from the 70s, I just went on a Ted Nugent tear. Some of his stuff from the 70s, man, is like, he's fucking crazy guitarist. There's a reason they call him the Motor City Madman, right? I mean, his shredding, he's like, it's so good, man. So props to Ted Nugent. He's a fucking lunatic now, and I'm not one of those people that are going to be like, I'm not going to listen to him because of who he voted for. I don't give a fuck who you vote for.
I don't think he's at all a lunatic. Yeah, fuck you. I don't think he's a lunatic at all, sir. But
no, I think he's completely mad. I think he's completely mad.
Why?
But Because I just think he is, but I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's not a negative comment. I mean, people.
I know, but I'm kind of curious. I mean, we're here for open conversation. We're here for the everyman. You don't have to agree with us politically. Me and you are good friends. We can have different political viewpoints and still be friends, so that's fine.
Absolutely,
I'm just curious. What about Ted Nugent sounds so crazy? He likes guns. He likes hunting. I really don't know any other things that he really is, that outspoken about. Instead of leave him the fuck alone.
Well, he's very. Sorry, Waste, am I interrupting you? So go ahead.
No, I was just commenting that his stage show is pretty crazy. Like the way he acts on stage. He's going crazy on stage.
He's the Motor City Madman, and they call him that for a reason. And, I mean, very entertaining, and his music is... Man, his music's second to none, man. I highly, highly, highly recommend checking out anything from Ted Nugent. And he was putting out records like almost every year there in the 70s for a while. Sometimes a couple a year. Like check out his all music page.
He was a bucket ahead of his time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Ted Nugent fan. Recently discovered Ted Nugent and a huge fan of him. That,
you kind of think he's nuts about, just out of curiosity? We won't go deep on it. Just in general, like, what was the thing you went, this guy might be, a little crazy.
He's just anti-establishment, and that's considered, like, you're crazy that way. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, guys. He's very anti-establishment. He loves guns. He loves hunting. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but not everybody likes that, right? And a lot of times people think you're fucking crazy when you're into stuff like that, right? And especially when, things happen in your country, Brasky, where people use guns in a very poor manner and not in the way that they're supposed to.
That's not your hunters like Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent's going out and he lives on land and he's a hunter.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Bastard.
Let me finish. Like, I am a proud Canadian gun owner. Like, I have my gun license. I have my restricted license. Like, I'm a gun guy. I enjoy it, but people think I'm crazy because I'm into that stuff. I'm probably going hunting next week on my days off from work. It's hunting season right now for whitetail. So I'm probably going next week, and people think I'm crazy because I'm going hunting. Like, it's just, it's not something of the norm. So people say that you're crazy because of it. That's why I said he's crazy. I'm not saying it in a bad way. Because
you might say, hunters are crazy, and I'm not saying you're saying that, but what I'm saying is wait till you have some freaking pepperoni sticks from elk or antelope. I mean, antelope pepperoni sticks are some of my favorite things in the world. God. I'm telling you right now, Liarz, if you get some antelope pepperoni sticks, you know the address.
Unfortunately, I won't be hunting for antelope this year. I only have whitetail tickets, so I don't even have an elk ticket this year. So it's just whitetail for me this year. But that's fine. I'll make some.
Are you still gonna? I know we're getting off track. We'll get back to hair metal here. But I mean, you get some beer sausage made from one of them deers. You had a few beers, and I know you don't drink anymore. But when you did, you had a few beers to that. I mean, you might have weapons of mass destruction coming out your ass. Then I mean.
Adding alcohol to food is still allowed. I still do that. I don't want to say still allowed like I'm in recovery or something. I'm not. I just stopped drinking one day. But no, like I still put wine in some dishes and stuff. Like it. When I was in school, here's a revelation about Liarz' life. I was in school once for being a chef, and it was actually taught us that you can still, if you have an alcoholic in your restaurant or in your party that you're serving, you can still use alcohol in the dishes because it burns off, exactly. So there's no alcohol in the dish. It's just the flavor that you get from the liquid.
All right, we got off topic here. Let me get us back on topic. I gotta know if this is a hair metal song or not, because I think this is another great tune. You guys are gonna laugh at me, and I've brought this up many times in the past. Lumberjack by Jackal.
Yeah, Jackal is I saw one of their albums is it the debut? It came out in 1991.
1990, I think.
1990.
Or 19...
When I listened to Jacko, it sounded like a new wave of British heavy metal, kind of mixed with hair metal.
I wouldn't say Jackal is hair metal. I would say no. They're more like heavy metal. Yeah.
So are we forgetting anyone else in the hair metal category? Because this was your guys' topic. I know I talked, but this was all you guys. You guys are hair metal junkies and enthusiasts, and I just want to make sure that we touched upon everything. And audience, let us know if we didn't.
Did we talk about Kiss?
In the comments below.
Did we talk about Kiss? I don't know where Kiss fits in. Where does Kiss fit into it? Are they an influence, or are they... Because Crazy Nights, that to me is a hair metal song.
So I would say early Kiss is... Man, I would say some of early Kiss has got some punk roots to it. Like, it's almost... But definitely, like, 1980s Kiss, that's all hair metal, man. Like... what's the one off Bill and Ted's Rock and Roll?
God gave rock and roll to you.
Like, that is a hair metal anthem if I've ever heard one, man. That is perfect. If I'm making a compilation album, I got More Than Words followed by God Gave Rock and Roll to You, followed by anything off Slippery When Wet, and then I'll be happy.
And Wayne's World, they're hair metal.
Wayne's World just rocks, man. I still want Wayne's World 3. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I'm thinking about writing Michael Myers and Dana Carvey about an idea for Wayne's World 3, and I really want it to happen, but...
They hate each other, supposedly.
Well, Michael Myers doesn't even act anymore. He doesn't do anything anymore. He kind of retired. That one, I keep want to say album, but that one film that he did just basically ruined his career. Where he's the
conspiracy movie.
The Guru?
The Guru movie, yeah.
Oh, it should have. It's a horrible film. I mean, even the third Austin Powers is still quotable. It's just not a good film, though. I mean, Michael Myers was doing great in the mid-90s to the early 2000s. He was on a hot streak there, and he made all that Trek money, so. But I know I've seen YouTube videos and read online that Dana Carvey and Michael Myers do not talk together, or Mike Myers. Even though Wayne's World, Michael Myers would be even better.
Oh, yeah. Dana Carvey is still on Saturday Night Live. I turned it on the other week, and there he was. I was like, how the fuck is... Maybe it was just the episode, but he was a special guest star, or maybe he was hosting. I don't even know. Yeah,
he was playing Biden, which he does a really good Biden, which I just love the fact that now they're like, oh, yeah, look, Biden's crazy. Like, for years, Biden was normal and fine and completely mentally cognitive. But then after, it's like, oh, no, he's crazy now. It's like, oh, so everyone who said he was, we're all conspiracy theorists, huh? Yeah. I still remember when Saturday Night Live was funny.
So do I.
It's still funny occasionally, but overall it's so playful now. And that's what I hate. I liked when they made fun of everyone. We've talked about this in the past on the show, but, when you take shots at both sides, it's a lot funnier. And you just don't scream your political messages. Like on this show here, we don't try to, like, say, hey, if you're a liberal, we hate you. We don't say, hey, you're conservative, we hate you. It's like, dude, we're just people, we're humans, We
don't call people like Ted Nugent, who's a conservative madman. But, sorry, go on.
I was just saying, there's a space for everyone in this world. You can leave your politics at the door, shut your brain off for a minute, and we can just talk some, everyday life and movies, TV, nostalgia, music. That's what we're going to do here. I think you guys were talking Kiss, but is there anything left on this hair metal topic? This is like the third time I've asked, but you guys keep finding more and more hair metal.
I'm good on this one. I think I covered what I wanted to say. What about you, Wasted?
Yeah, I'm good.
I just want to picture him Wasted back in the day with his hair all hair sprayed up, 4 feet tall, tight leather pants.
So picture
party in the business in the front, party in the back. More of a mullet.
That's a mullet.
With a mullet, with a perm and an earring.
I picture Robert Downey Jr. from what's that movie? Way back in the 80s, where he's got that hair and the big bangs down in front, and it's up on the sides.
Back to School.
Who?
Pickup artist.
Back to School.
Pickup artist.
I was thinking Back to School with Robert Downey Jr. Remember he's the punk? He's the friend of
That's who it
Rodney
was.
Dangerfield's son?
I believe that's the one. Back to School.
Yeah, he's the friend of Rodney Dangerfield's son.
Yeah, It's
I picture Wasted more like a John Hall looking bastard from Hall & Oates.
yeah.
Now I'm more like
Wasted.
Michael Bolton.
All right, let's move on to our next topic of the night. Now, folks, mind you, we have timestamps everywhere. So if you just came for the hair metal, that's over. If you want to stick around, we appreciate it. If you said fuck the hair metal and you skipped to here, hey, welcome to the show. So our next topic of the evening, and I'm going to make sure Liarz is ready for it, is Liarz and Wasted. They love them some UFOs. Don't worry, we'll get to one of my topics here soon, but they love them some UFOs. And the United States government just had this whole big meeting of Congress and disclosure about UFOs. Once again, we have more UFO news. Liarz?
Yeah, congressional hearings are blowing the lid off UFO secrecy and getting us closer to the full truth than ever. So, if you've been following aliens, or I go on Reddit, subreddit aliens, it's a great subreddit for everything that's aliens. So if you've been following this topic for the last couple of years, disclosure has been going on. And every so often, the government will release more info as to, they're still very cryptic about what it actually is, because they don't actually come out and say it's aliens, but, they allude to it and they suggest that it is. And, they don't call them UFOs anymore. They call them UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons, right? So, it seems as though that Congress is releasing more and more evidence of otherworldly visitors to this planet, and how they've been here, and how we have reverse technology onto for the flying saucers and stuff. And they have very, very credible people verifying stories of airline pilots and Air Force pilots and Army pilots that have seen these crafts flying around their airplanes, and they don't know what they are. They drop from 80,000 feet down to 30,000 feet within seconds, and then in no time they're in back of them. It seems that they're making 90-degree angles turns in space, which is it's just impossible, right? They have there's no form of propulsion on these crafts, so they don't know how they're being propelled into the atmosphere, wherever. And now they're even talking about bases in the water, and that's where a lot of these crafts are coming from. So
basically what we talked about.
Go on.
I was going to say basically what we talked about last time. It just seems they're confirming more and more of this, and people are becoming less caring. It's lost old shock value. I remember when this news was first coming out years ago, and people were like, "Oh my God, aliens are confirmed, man!" Aliens. Now it's military people, airlines, everything you just said, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's happening." And no one cares. I mean, until you actually have one of these aliens come down and land in the White House, and start seeing silver or green creatures start walking up there, towards the Oval Office, and they want to do a whole hey, let's talk to the humans, or they invade and want to destroy us. Which if they want to do that, I'm sure they already would have.
They already would have. One thing that was very interesting was right before the election, Donald Trump was on Joe Rogan, and he did an interview there with him, and Trump kind of suggested that he would be willing to release whatever information he could in his second term, right? And, he I don't know if this was the same interview, but he did go on to say that, he was going to he was going to release some evidence on all of this in his first term, but he was approached by, and he didn't say who it was, but he said it was approached by a very reputable source or a confidant or a friend, whomever, and they kind of suggested that Trump don't release anything because it wasn't the right time, and this was in his first term. So he said he's much more apt to releasing information now in his second term. And just like you said, Brasky, it's like we've been conditioned to accept that these are real now, because the shock value is now gone, and everybody is kind of, it's almost like old hat to people now, where they're just like, oh yeah, UFOs are real. Like,
I think we're in a situation.
Holy shit, man.
I think we're in a situation that, the Simpsons predicted everything so far. Like, they always predict things. I think they kind of predicted what's already going on with aliens. On the Simpsons, I believe their names are Kang and Kronos. Mm-hmm. And they just watch us and laugh at us. We're pretty much their reality TV.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going on. The Simpsons probably have known this for years. I don't know how they know this. Maybe they're time travelers. Maybe we should do a whole episode of the Simpsons time travelers and just go down that rabbit hole. Is Matt Groening a time traveler who just magically knows all these things? Because I think that's exactly what's been happening all these years. That the aliens just watch us for amusement. We're their entertainment. We're their professional wrestling. We're their NFL. We're their sports. We're their Real Housewives. They just watch us and go, damn, these humans are stupid.
So, Republican Nancy Mace, she was recently in Congress talking about the UAP phenomenon, and she went on to say, and I quote her, I hope that we'll have the most transparent and accountable administration in U.S. history, not just for UAPs, but across the board. So, she also seem to suggest that the next administration coming in early 2025 will be more forthcoming with evidence of Kane and
I'm just
Kronos,
surprised there hasn't been another country that just hasn't given a fuck. Like another world leader that's just like, listen, I'm going to lose. It doesn't matter. We got all this information anyways. These bastards have been flying around, messing with our military bases. We got them on video cameras, Yeah, aliens exist. Like, why hasn't another country just like, oh yeah, by the way, aliens exist? I don't get why that hasn't happened yet. Like, there must be some sort of leverage.
There was the Nazca mummies that came out this past year, and there's a lot of speculation about those as to whether they're real or not. Like I said, on Reddit, the subreddit Aliens, just simply Aliens, is a great thread, and there's constantly posting on it. Just stuff from around the world, usually South America, because that seems to be a hotspot of alien activity, and and of course the United States and Canada, sometimes the UK, but it's check it out. I mean, with everything that's happening in Congress right now, and with everything that's happening with incoming Trump and disclosure, it's definitely a topic to check out. We're looking into it a little bit more.
You're over in the China, Taiwan land. Well, what's their opinion of aliens in that area of the world?
I think in China has a lot of alien UFO sightings. Maybe the most in the world because of the size of the country. So in the Western provinces, like out in places like Mongolia and stuff, they see a lot. It's just that, and the government actually, I think, encourages it. Like, it's not something that they try to suppress. They actually want the Chinese people to believe in aliens. I think some of the military stuff is they don't want to give away what kind of technology they actually have to the other side, because if you know what sort of they call it non-human technology, don't they? Which means that they haven't officially kind of admitted to actually having it. So when they find it, they found those like non-human technology vehicles. They can sort of pretend that they didn't have this technology the whole time. It just came. It was aliens, and they were covering it up to protect everybody. So I think some of the disclosure stuff is kind of military intelligence, and a lot of sort of counterintelligence kind of propaganda between countries. None of them want to admit what they have, so they deny it. But they're sort of, at the moment, with disclosure, they seem to be setting up a way for the bureaucracy to kind of admit to having it without admitting that they've been covering up either aliens or sort of stealth technology or zero gravity technologies they haven't worked out yet. That seems to be what they're doing. It's this kind of it's almost like a weird cover-up or a way of them not being seen to be hiding it. They're just going to say it's all new alien technology that they found, when actually maybe they have this technology for a long time. Like, where did iPhones come from all of a sudden? This technology must have been getting developed many years before they actually, set it up.
Yeah, we've talked about that in the past. I just kind of wanted to know what the general opinion is over in the Far East.
Definitely a lot of sightings in Asia. Drunk on the
now we kind of
Chinese alcohol.
So we gave you your alien update. Our last show we did our Oasis update. We will continue to follow these stories, and we will update them as there's more news available. Our next topic tonight is a very interesting topic. Spirit Airlines, one of our airline carriers here in the United States, has just filed bankruptcy. And I can tell you, their employees, they're not too happy. Now, Liarz, is this something that we want to sync up the video to, or is this something we just want to describe?
Oh, I'm putting the video in the show, like 100%. The video's coming in. It's something that everybody needs to see, so I'll put it right in now.
Bitch, don't play with me. Do not play with me. Do not play with me, because I'm not the one nor the two. You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got shit to. You ain't gonna do nothing. I just need my ticket. You speaking on me for nothing? Like I said, keep my name out your mouth, bitch. Keep my name out your mouth, because mine is always in yours for some reason. No, some reason. It always out of here. Out of here. Out of here before I slap the shit out of you. You're not gonna smack shit. Try me. You think you're fucking tough? I'm not trying me. Try me, Tandika. I be done drop kicked your ass. Out of here, you dirty bitch. I'm not dirty. Yes, you are. Out of here. You and your raggedy ass fucking bitch. Out of here. Go suck a dick. Like I said what I said. And I said what I said. Please step to me like you want it. Go suck another dirty dick.
Okay, all right. So you just saw the video. Gentlemen, do you want to comment on the video we just saw?
Isn't it just the employees? There's two black ladies bumping into each other. That's what I saw. And then they get mad about it. And then they start cursing each other out for like 10, 15 minutes. Is that the video you're talking about?
Well, you must have seen an extended cut, Wasted, because it wasn't 10 to 15 minutes. It was, you can clearly see the employees bumping into each other, and then you have the infamous Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong moment. And one of the ladies is just, she's just going off. She just doesn't have any time for the other lady. And just telling her to go suck go sucking them dirty dicks. And mind you, you gotta imagine they're doing this right in front of like the airport kiosk. Like this is the place where, you go and oh, hey, I'm here to check in for my flight. And, right before you go into, it's the airport terminal. So you got families, you got people that are, traveling for business, and these two are just going off at each other. Liarz, what was your opinion?
It's hilarious. And, you gotta think about these ultra low cost airlines, right? And just the amount of shit that the employees have to put up with people flying, because they offer nothing, right? I mean, they offer the base fare, and that's all you get, right? A lot of times you don't get a check bag. A lot of times you don't get a personal item. So people are going to be bringing these things to the airport, to this kiosk where these two women start fighting. And, they're probably angry. They're probably angry, angry that to the fact that, they can't bring this carry-on even though it fits the dimensions. Like, oh no, this fits the dimensions of what it says on the website. And they probably get shit from every fucking side every day. And to me, it looks like these two women who are employees know their company's going out of business, files for bankruptcy, and one bumps into another, and that just sets her off, man. And she's like, go suck another dick! It's, you gotta check it out. Or you just checked it out because we just put it in. But, I love it, man. I'm Team Chaos, and I'm always Team Chaos, because Team Chaos is fucking hilarious. And Team Chaos is what makes this show happen, because without Team Chaos, there's nothing to talk about. So these two ladies, thank you for being you, and thank you for what you do. In Philadelphia, we love you. Spirit Airlines, thanks for being who you are and filing bankruptcy, because I really appreciate you doing that, because it offered me some good laughs.
I mean, if you're Team Chaos, that's what you're going to get in the world. People are just so angry and frustrated now. And you're just getting world star hip hop moments now at every place you can imagine, like fast food restaurants, airports, just basic public transit. If people from, I know most of our audience is from the United States, but, as outside observers, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but you guys sometimes look in here and go, what the fuck is going on in that country? Like, there's just no decency anymore. There's just no manners. People are just going off at each other, and it's like, as our last show we were talking about, how to survive Thanksgiving or Christmas dinners, because you're going to have those situations, you're going to have conflict with people. But there's just conflict with, fellow coworkers and just random strangers that are just going absolutely batshit crazy in public nowadays, and it's fucking hilarious. It's sad, because you gotta imagine, there's gonna, like I said earlier, there's gonna be the people that are just tired. They've been, they're on a business trip, or you got the family that's traveling to go see grandma, and they're just these two women just go at each other, just fucking go at each other for there's no apparent reason. Maybe we don't know the backstory. We don't know what their relationship was heading into this, but it looks like one of them just bumped into one, and then it ends with telling her to go suck a dirty dick.
Go suck another dirty dick.
They're probably aren't they going to lose their jobs? Isn't that what it is? Because if
probably
they're
not
bankrupt, they're about to lose their job, so they don't care.
Oh yeah.
So that happened at the McDonald's I go to. They brought in these flat screen, you don't go up to the checkout to pay for your food. You can pay using the flat screen monitors. So there's no real cash out anymore. So
right.
The amount of people that were working there went from 10 to 2. Now there's just people there. There's people in the kitchen, and there's 2 people at the front that just pass you the food. So before that happened, you could sort of see that everybody there looked more and more pissed off. Every time I went back there, you could see that they were more and more angry and gave less and less of a shit. You just get the wrong order and you go, what? But the last time I went in, now they do table service at McDonald's. They've switched it around. You don't really talk to anybody. You go on a digital screen and just put in your order, and you can pay with your phone. And then you go up to the front, and they just give you a little kind of, table reserve cone or whatever, flag with a number on it. I had number 17, and I went over to my table, and I put it on my table. I was waiting for my McDonald's, and I was like, this isn't right. What's going on? And then the waitress, I suppose you call them now, brought it to my table.
That's probably a good idea, because now you probably don't get free refills anymore. You remember back in the day, you get yourself a small cup. You're going to be drinking, 60 ounces or at least 40 ounces of soda, because you're going to keep going up and getting your free refills. Nowadays, they don't have free refills anymore. They probably don't even put out the ketchup packets anymore, so you can load up. I remember back in the day, my dad used to load up his pockets with ketchup packets. Not because we were poor growing up, just because it's something he did. Obviously, you would still do that, Wasted.
I think what I kind of realized just from that time when she brought it over to me, I realized that what was happening is all the orders get backed up, and there was always 10 people standing around by the front door at the cash out place, blocking the entire restaurant, so people couldn't walk from one side of the restaurant to the other. So that might be a way that, instead of you just standing around waiting to get shot in the McDonald's, queuing for your stuff, you go and sit down. then the whole thing is more orderly. Makes sense in a way, and at least it's a job, isn't it? Like, I don't know. It's
for
like
now.
Kitchen staff just bring it to you though. So,
I mean, it is for now. I mean, in general, like, think about it. When you guys are out in public now, doesn't everyone seem more pissed off at every service place you go? Be it the grocery store, be it retail, anywhere you go, like, no one's happy.
everywhere's understaffed.
Yeah, well, understaffed, underpaid, because corporations got to, each year, for some reason, the new motto is now like, hey, we made a profit, great job. It's, nope, we got to make more than we made last year, no matter what. So, I don't know, customer service has gone to absolute dog shit, and I get jealous because sometimes, like, I'll watch YouTube and I'll see, like, hey, look how these other people in foreign countries live, and it's like, what do you mean they get 2 months off a year in Europe? What do you mean they only have to work, like, 40 hours a week and it's all good and they got pensions? I thought America was number one. What the hell?
But you can't, in those countries, you can't necessarily make it rich. You're more controlled. The government controls your pensions, and schools is free, and medical is free. But in business, it's hard. Like in Europe, it's like more of an egalitarian style, isn't it? People don't see themselves as individuals necessarily in places like Norway or Sweden or whatever.
Well, wait, so I'm going to have a hell of a segue with what you're saying right now. I'm going to have a segue because what I'm going to say will make sense. What your imagination or what you're thinking of the opportunity that exists in America doesn't exist anymore. You either were born into a wealthy family or you got lucky and you hit a lucky break. There's plenty of people that work extremely hard that are struggling just to get by day to day. The American dream died a long time ago. And my generation's really, the first one to really see it. Millennials, they're seeing it. They were kind of at the tail end where you could still kind of make it. Or not millennials, I'm sorry, Generation Xers. They could still, get the American dream. They were at the tail end of it. Millennials, we just got fucked. The American dream was dead by the time we were ready to be adults. And what you think when you see America, and I think a lot of people from foreign countries do, is they watch movies like Wall Street with Michael Douglas and Gordon Gekko. Greed is good. Look at the lavish lifestyles of Americans. You go back to the 80s where everything was, extravagant and exuberant and everything was large. It was like the Donald Trump era. You know what I mean? Where everything, you had Lifestyles of Rich and Famous with Robin Leach. The 80s and 90s are well gone and over. The 2000s, they started out, with really, kind of okay still. We had the dot-com crash, but then you had the Great Recession. Then you had kind of an uptick where everything kind of looked like it might be heading back to normal. Then you had the pandemic, and it's it's crash dive down. But what I was talking for a segue, and I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that, or yes or no?
No, segue.
Segue away.
Segue away. We brought up Wall Street with Michael Douglas and wasted one of the topics you wanted to talk tonight was Michael Douglas movies. So there's your segue.
Yeah, Fatal Attraction. I don't know if you remember that movie. The one with his lover or somebody he just had a casual, or somebody in his office ends up being in his house boiling his daughter's pet rabbit or something. That's what I remember. And Michael Douglas.
Yeah, the Psycho Glenn Close.
Yeah. She's she played this sort of psycho stalker, and Michael Douglas plays the classic 80s sleazeball husband, even though he's not such a bad guy really. But yeah, a lot of his movies are like that, whereas it's him being stalked by women from his workplace, which I guess was happening a lot in the 80s. And the Disclosure is the one I remember from the 90s, I think, with Demi Moore. She didn't she force herself on him in the office or something?
Yes, we'll describe it as this. She forced Monica Lewinsky to Bill Clinton him in the office.
Yes. That's a good way of doing it. But because was it Jewel in the Nile? Those are the movies that I remember after Streets of San Francisco. But that's when Michael Douglas was, on the Bolivian marching powder and being a bad boy in Hollywood. And then he went to do movies like Jewel on the Nile, which is sort of like an Indiana Jones style movie, isn't it? And he always used to have like his shirt unbuttoned. I always used to call him Sexy Boy Douglas. He used to have his shirt unbuttoned in every movie, and he'd always be dancing. But then he started doing these kind of midlife crisis movies where he's being like sexually assaulted in the office by staff or something. And Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct is a little bit like that as well. What's she called in that movie?
Sharon Stone?
Sharon Stone, I've forgotten the name of the character. Anyway, she's like really threatening him in that movie, really, isn't she? It's those two lesbians
Yes.
are basically like stalking him again.
Yes.
In Basic Instinct.
Yes. Catherine Fromell is her name.
Oh, Catherine, yeah, it sounds like Catherine Brunel?
Tremell. Tramell. Tremell.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the movies that I can remember from Michael Douglas.
Now, you're forgetting one of the best movies, and as you get older, the movie makes more and more sense every day. And I'm talking nothing other than the movie Falling Down.
Oh, yeah. That's very...
William Foster, stuck in traffic. So the movie starts with he's stuck in traffic, and he's in L.A., and things go wrong for him during the day, and so he, his car overheats, so he gets out, he starts walking, and he just gets angrier and angrier, and he takes everything into his own hands, basically, and
It doesn't...
Like I said, as I get older, the movie makes sense. What's that?
Hold on. In that movie, though,
doesn't he pull a gun on the sort of local McDonald's because the breakfast menu is ended and it's like 10:30?
That's right.
So he pulls a gun on the staff, which is what actually ended up happening in the future. That's what happens now.
Of course, it did.
Fast food places. There's lots of shootings in McDonald's.
Well, one thing people don't realize about that movie, because we always look at it back as like an anti-hero movie, is that he was actually the bad guy in that movie. Like, he lost his job weeks before the movie starts. He was way behind on child support. He was just, he had a complete mental break. Now, we all look at that movie because we can relate to the parts where, they don't serve breakfast 5 minutes after, what was it, 11 o'clock or 10:30? They won't serve breakfast, and he just wanted breakfast. Or he goes to get the can of Coke, and the guy wants to charge him an outrageous sum for a can of Coke, so he takes the baseball bat to the store. Yeah. Or the hoodlums, the gangsters, try to, rob him, and he pulls out the Uzi. I mean, we can relate to that because, as human beings and men in the everyday world we live in, we go through that crap every fucking day. But at the end of the movie, you really find out he was the bad guy. One of my favorite Michael Douglas movies that never gets talked about anymore is The Game with him and Sean Penn.
Great movie. Great movie. I remember watching that, and then you kind of, as the movie goes on, you kind of forget that they're playing a game, right? And then it all comes together at the end that it's the game. But that's a good one. Brasky, you can probably describe it a little bit better than I did, but
so basically what happens is his brother, for his birthday party, signs him up to play this game where it's a role-playing game where, it's actors in society. It's a game, it's all a game. But throughout the movie, it becomes, he actually thinks that people are trying to kill him and that this is a real thing. And, you as an audience member get sucked into it because it's really realistic. And I'm not going to spoil the movie, but it's an enthralling thriller. It's one of the smarter movies they made back in the 90s, and you really don't see many of those movies made today. It's a very enjoyable movie, and Sean Penn's excellent in it.
Yeah.
Now, you guys were talking Michael Douglas, too. What was that one, War of the Roses, with him and Kathleen Turner?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's where it's like a divorce in a sort of house that's turned into a money pit. And then it's kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith a little bit, like with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, where they're fighting. So it's Michael Douglas is just fighting with his wife, as this house is just collapsing over the divorce. They're getting divorced. So that's kind of like the final stage of his, after all the kind of office shenanigans, his final destination is getting divorced. He seemed to be like...
And Danny DeVito's excellent in that movie. As the lawyer. Yeah.
Danny DeVito's awesome in everything, man. I don't think I've ever been disappointed with Danny DeVito.
Yeah, he's really good in Tin Man as well, even though nobody's seen that movie. But Dreyfus and DeVito are like warring, they're having a feud about their Cadillac salesmen who crash into each other, ruining their Cadillacs, and then they have this feud for the whole movie.
We've actually talked about that in the past.
Yes, I think I talked about that movie before. Yeah, it's my favorite movie.
Let's try to think of other Michael Douglas movies. He was in Ant-Man, and then I think it was it a trilogy of Ant-Man, or was it just Ant-Man and the Wasp? No, there's a trilogy, because it was Ant-Man Quantumanium. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronunciate or enunciate that correctly. What else was he in? Was he in Entrapment?
Yeah.
That
was...
his wife was.
Isn't that James Bond? Yeah, Zeta
You're right, that's Sean Connery. Catherine Zeta-Jones, his wife, was in that.
Yeah. And he got... Michael Douglas, he got like throat cancer from Catherine Zeta-Jones.
From going down on her?
Yeah, he only just recovered, I think. And
wait, so did you get him low on the mic?
He got in trouble for he got in trouble with Catherine Zeta-Jones for saying that. So they've kind of denied it later, but he at the time he was saying, he got it from going down on Catherine Zeta-Jones. I mean, she's very, very hot. Maybe that's the only way they could stop him, like, cheating on his wives, was to just find him the hottest woman on the planet or something.
Well, what other movies was he in? He was in Traffic. Well, that movie kind of sucks.
I got a good one.
What?
Black Rain.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
He's a New York cop. Goes after the Yakuza. It's a great one.
I don't think if there's any other real Michael Douglas movies that I remember. Wasted Picture Mike.
Traffic.
I just mentioned Traffic. I hate that movie. I find it to be boring. I hate I don't like how the cinematography is in that movie. Like, the picture just looks like shit. And I don't like how it's all split up into multiple stories. It's not a movie I enjoy. And I know a lot of people really like that movie. To me, it just is, What, do you like it, Liarz?
No, I don't like those types of movies. It's kind of like a spy thriller. Like, I don't know. So that's how I see it, at least. I know it's not, but that's how I see it. It just kind of bore me. I don't know.
He's in Wall Street 2.
Yeah.
Money Never Sleeps. He's in a lot, but not all of them. But that
Wasted.
One of the Boys is something he was in.
Liarz, are you hearing that on Wasted's end?
No.
He's really breaking bad on my end. It could just be my end, so I just don't want you to go for an edit later on and be like, we can't hear a word Wasted's saying.
Oh, Wasted. Wasted in his audio. I love it.
Supposedly he's in Face Off. I don't remember him being in Face Off.
He's not in Face Off.
Says it.
He was executive producer only. Stop reading Wikipedia.
Wasted talking to your phone, into the microphone.
I'm talking into the microphone.
He was in A Perfect Murder. That's the one where he sets up to kill his wife. What's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow. Kind of a shitty movie.
Yeah. Wasn't he in that one with Madonna? Body of Evidence?
No.
Or is that not him?
That's not him.
Who's in that?
You know what's a really good one that he was in? Is this one doesn't get a lot of credit. It's Ghost in the Darkness with him and Val Kilmer. where they're hunting the lion.
That's right. Killer movie. Wasn't A Ghost in the Darkness based on a book? I don't know if it is. I just recently read a book called The Tiger, and it was about an expedition of people out in Russia, actually, that went and hunted a tiger that attacked a group of workers. And it pretty much fits the synopsis of this movie, so I wonder if the two are related. I'll check it out. But
wasn't that
great book. Sorry, go on,
Liarz, isn't that based off Ghost of Darkness, which is based how Apocalypse Now is actually based off of? With a lion that was eating all the people?
But the Heart of Darkness.
That's right.
Heart of Darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Joseph Conrad.
I think that Heart of Darkness, definitely. That's Apocalypse Now for sure. And, it probably is. There's probably multiple stories of tigers and lions eating people because, why wouldn't they? Because they can. I know if I was a tiger, I'd eat people because I can. Anyway, the book talks about the spiritual connection between man and tiger and how people out in Russia, they just have this understanding with the tigers that roam there. Anyway, and they go after the tiger and the tiger outsmarts them. And interesting read. I'd recommend it. Check it out if you can find it. It's called The Tiger. I don't think it's based on the Ghost in the Darkness, but I think that's more of Heart of Darkness. So, Michael Douglas.
Yeah, the thing about Michael Douglas, when you actually look at his filmography, you think it's a lot bigger than it is. I mean, you got the China Syndrome from the 70s, but I mean, overall, because, what a well-respected and renowned actor he is, or at least presented so by Hollywood, you would think his filmography is more than just, 80s rom-coms and, erotic thrillers, but instead of Wall Street, there's really not much in there.
Yeah, he had big roles in a few movies like Basic Instinct and Wall Street, which really set him up.
Propelled him.
And Falling Down is pretty big as well. But Wall Street, the fact that he did Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps, means that he didn't have that many big movies. But they're all hit pretty hard.
Falling Down wasn't a really commercial success. It was kind of like more of a cult film.
Yeah, in the 90s.
It actually lost money at the box office,
like a big movie. But it's Wall Street based. It's Gordon Gekko. He is basically Gordon Gekko in every.
What's so funny?
It's Gordon Gekko.
Wasted audio.
Is my audio worse?
No, you're fine on my end. So we've been experiencing audio issues this week, folks.
Gremlins in the Machine.
Ghost in the Machine, Was he in that one?
This is after Wasted went and he bought the expensive noise-canceling headset, so he's got the noise-canceling mic and the noise-canceling earbuds and, all the fancy equipment, because, we care. We want to make sure
those. I'm not using those at the moment. My battery ran out on my phone, so I had to change headphones and just use the mic on the phone for the last part.
How long ago was this Wasted?
Probably after the hair metal.
So basically when we started having all the issues.
Yeah, but I don't think that changes what Liarz's mic sounds like.
True.
He's deflecting blame now. Did you see this?
No, logically. Normally my audio is okay, it's just that there is a little bit more background noise on the phone, it seems. But we'll see. We'll see how good these headphones. It took me almost 2 years to get them. And about 3 different adapters.
Wasted. We've been doing the show, one variation of it or another now we're going to be going into we're already past, so we started originally in 2021. Okay?
Yeah.
It's 2024, buddy. It's been more than 2 years.
Yeah. But I had decent headphones on the first phone. It's only when I got this Lightning iPhone with the Lightning jack that everything went wrong, because you can't get decent headphones for it. It's taken me a while to work it out.
Well, all right. Well, we had a good show tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Wasted, is there anything you want to say before we punch out?
Adios.
Thank you, Wasted. That was very insightful. Liarz, is there any other topic tonight that you want to say before we punch out?
No, we covered
All right.
everything. Thanks for listening.
Then it's going to be about that time. Liarz, please take us out for the evening and make sure it's like a really great outro. Like put some zip in it. Put some pizzang in it. Give it before, buddy. Right.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. Without you, the show can't go on. So we appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate all the subscribers that are happening right now. We're getting a steady increase in our number of subscribers on YouTube, which is very encouraging. We love to see it. Thank you for your support. We, above and beyond everything, we do really appreciate it. And, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Please leave a comment like you guys have been doing. I try to get back to every comment that is put on the show. If I don't get back to it right away, I will get back to it eventually. So, I try and interact as much as I can. We all try and interact with you as much as we can because, we love doing what we do and we do it for everybody. So thanks again for listening on all the platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, and then from Spotify, it's going on to basically every platform where you get your podcasts. So check us out where you can. We appreciate all the support, and until next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, fame or shame, our next contestant, William Angio! All right, come on. we got a show to do.
You really suck, dude.
Wait a second.
Lovely.
How could I suck? I host a talent show, all right? I'm on national television, and I get paid a lot, all right? And I get chicks. Here, smell.
No, God.
All right? Oh, sorry, that was a sandwich. Smell.
No, I don't want to smell your food.
She wasn't even that fat, all right? So I'm not gay, all right? Whatever, let's get to it, okay? I am so desperate to hear you sing. I mean, last time you were fantastic. So you're going to do a Love Fist classic, right?
It was #1 in Germany for 19 weeks.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's fame or shame for William Angio! Fantastic. I'm moist. let's take a break before we hear from the judges and find out if that was fame or shame. Whew, what do you guys think? You want to come see my trailer later? Come on. Come on.